Okay, so today we are cruising the Burg with three-time Mayor Marty Beezley, who has a lot of other titles, but that's how I know her fondly because she hired me to come to Pittsburg almost 10 years ago. So welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful morning.
Well, I'm from Lamar, Missouri, so I didn't get very far from home, but I had a blind date with a boy from Crawford County who turned out to be my husband, and he certainly didn't get far from home. We have two children, Molly, who is in Leawood, Kansas, and Brett, also in Leawood, Kansas. I have four grandchildren who I'm very fond of and love dearly. And my husband and I have lived here, 40-some years. So we decided to stay in Pittsburgh, and it's been wonderful for us. My son ultimately went to KU, and his grandfather, who was a K-Stater, played football for K-State. Didn't speak to him for 6 months, but it all got ironed out.
And that's
in
why
the
you
end.
got season tickets to K-State.
Yeah, we do.
Who got you to run for mayor?
Well,
How'd that
my
happen?
old boss.
Not mayor, but commissioner.
Frank Ross. I was director
Ross.
of community relations for Alemakers Youth and Family Services at the time, and I went into his office and spoke with him about it, and he said, I think it's something you should do. I think you're a good consensus builder, and I remember those words from him. But I think the thing that really got me interested in doing something like that was I was fortunate to be in Leadership Kansas, and as you know, because you've been part of that, they stress being active in your community, taking part in any role that you can do, volunteering, running for office, whatever. And so one of the commissioners at the time left a vacancy. So I interviewed for it, I think along with 2 or 3 other people, and I was chosen. So that's how I began on the commission. I was on there for 2 years, but my mother became ill after that, and I didn't run for election. But came back, and as you know, the rest is history. I was on for 14 years after that.
So what are some highlights from being mayor? I mean, obviously you guys did a lot.
Oh, wow. I was privileged to work with some other commissioners who wanted to see things happen in our community in a good way. We were ready for progress. The town was ready. It needed to move ahead. We had a good town-gown relationship, but it also needed to be nurtured a bit. We needed to talk to each other more, and we began to do that. And
Who was the president of the university?
I believe Tom Bryant was. You know, with the latest administration, we really started working well together, and the city was also instrumental in helping the tech center. We gave $1 million at that point. That we were instrumental in helping to get the Plaster Center built, and that's a wonderful agreement that we have. And look what a boon that's been for an economic welfare for our community. My gosh.
Have you ridden a scooter yet?
No, I haven't ridden a scooter, and I'm not going to ride a scooter. But anyway, I'm really proud of our relationship with the university, and I think they feel the same way about us. I think it's real symbiotic, and I think we work well together.
What about some other big buildings and things you've worked on? Because you guys built a lot of stuff
we built.
while you were on there.
Fire Station number 1 on 4th Street.
Oh, well, that's when I first met you, was in Fire Station number 1 for Leadership Kansas.
That's right.
Little Marty Beezley walked by the mayor, and I was like, whoa, you were in charge, and that was a very, very new building at the time.
It was. And I always thought, there were some in the community that said we didn't need it. There were others that said we were building a Taj Mahal. And I thought, how do you get better if you don't build better? If you don't think you deserve something, then you don't get better. You just stay status quo. We didn't build a Taj Mahal, but that is an entrance to our city. And I always thought it should look like, we were prospering. But more than that, it was wonderful for the firefighters because it gave them what they needed, places to park the truck, places to store their equipment so that they could be, certainly ready to get involved in anything that the community needed as far as firefighting. And also, it's somewhat of a civic center itself because we've held meetings there, and I'm very proud of that.
And now it's paid for.
It's paid for. And we did it. Did we do it before on time? Did we pay for it before?
No, we paid it off. We paid it off early.
Yeah, we paid it off early, which
and
was great.
Once it was paid off, we reduced the sales tax by a quarter-cent and reprogrammed the balance to streets. So we're doing twice as many streets. Those buildings are paid for. And was the law enforcement center was part of that, right?
The law enforcement center. Another thing I'm really proud of. Oh my gosh, the building that law enforcement center was in was riddled with mold and not comfortable for the police force. No, come on. Certainly we want them to be ready, able, and good to go when they're called upon. But the law enforcement center is another feather in our cap.
Well, let's talk about the land bank because we just drove past one of Larry Seward's properties. He took from the land bank and turned it over, and that's been a heck of a good program for us. And you were one of the original members of the land bank. So, how's that? Has it been a success in your mind?
Well, I think it's a success for the city. We borrowed from other cities,
right?
And then cities came to us for policy. So I really enjoyed my time on the land bank because you have people coming in and you can sell them a piece of property that is in poor condition. Now that property comes to us from tax sales, or it can be a donation. And so our goal is not to make money. Our goal is to get that piece of property back into being a taxable piece of property. Is this a land bank?
That's a land bank.
That's a land bank property.
And that's the property.
And look at that.
That the fire department used for 2 weeks to test and train in. Yeah. They filled that with smoke and had basically tore the roof. Look at that property. It's beautiful. So we're out in front of 402 East Washington if you get a chance to drive by. But wow. Let's talk a lot about Pittsburg Beautiful. So how did it come about, and B, let's talk about how strong it is because it's been around since I've been here.
When we first moved to Pittsburg, I noticed that it needed some looking at. There were some blighted places. There was a lot of trash. People just didn't seem maybe to take as much pride in their property as need be. So I brought a group of people together, and at the time I wasn't the mayor, but I was on the commission, and David Nance was the mayor. I went to them and I said, can we do anything about this? So we brought a group of people together, some of the founding folks of Pittsburgh that I knew when we came here to live. And we came up with the name Pittsburg Beautiful. We held meetings at Schlanger Park, and we have volunteers. Now today, there's maybe one or two originals still on there, 3 at the most I can think of. But it's a very small group who takes care of, the parking lots, planters. We plant downtown. We do all the urns 2 times a year.
You do the big corners out on the bypass?
We do the corners on the bypass. We have Trailhead Park. What I want to say is that Pittsburg Beautiful needs volunteers.
Yes.
It's just a small group of about 10 people at the most doing all that work. And we were gifted some money to do it by a person who is deceased at this point, which has enabled us to do some big other projects. But look around, you'll see benches we bought and put in parks. We put benches, I think, on the trailhead, on a Watco Trail, which is great for our city, and we'll probably get some more benches out. And but if anyone's interested at all, in helping Pittsburgh beautiful. It's a great group.
So how do you get involved?
Give us a call.
Who's us? You?
Give me a call.
Have you seen Riggs Chiropractic, what they did to the corner down here? It used to be the old Shell station.
And look at that. I mean, that's an entrance to our, this is an entrance to our community.
We used to take city crews out here, the city administrative staff, and we'd do the bypass because our crews didn't have time to get to it. We'd clean it up. This corner right here would take us an hour.
Yeah.
And now Riggs has it. They just mow it. I mean,
it's great.
There's no trees. There's no debris. It's just a pretty piece of grass. And yeah, people are investing in their community, and that's all you can hope for.
Well, and again, I think that we have good players at the table. We have a good hospital. We have a great university administration, a great university here, great chamber of commerce. Everybody working together. I was one of the founders of Vision 2030. It came from the Chamber of Commerce and from the board at the time. They wanted a vision of what we wanted the city to be, to look like. So we went to areas that we thought needed to be discussed. Mental health, social well-being, schools, infrastructure, absolutely.
Economic development.
Economic development, child care, all of those things together. So we brought those folks that were in charge of that within our city together. We had community forums where folks from the community came and told us what they thought needed to be done in the community. We tried to make it as inclusive as we could. And then things just started happening, and we could mark off some goals that we had met. And we found that, we could get even bigger and better than what we decided at the beginning of this project. So today, you have new leadership. You've had a couple of new leaderships through that whole thing. And hey, the sky's the limit. And I think that you can see the progress that we've made because we, again, have the right people at the table. Not only that, we listen to the community.
What's your absolutely favorite thing about being involved in the community? It doesn't even have to be as mayor, just involved in the community. What's the thing that you're going to look back and be like, that was really maybe the highlight?
Everything I've learned, every agency I got to work with when I was at United Way, all the people that I've sat on committees with, and I think I've been on several boards in the community, I've learned from every one of them. People in Pittsburgh are good people. They're hardworking, and I can be quite honest with you. I never really wanted to live in Pittsburgh, and I can't say how happy I am that I am in Pittsburgh now. It's home. That's what it is now. It's home for us, and I feel safe in this community. I love the progress that's being done. I'm proud to be a Pitt State graduate. It's just a great place to be from.
The last thing I want to say is, like I said, you hired me. I just want to thank you for that, for convincing me that Pittsburgh would be a good move for my family. And then always being there. You promised me when you got off the commission that if I called, you would answer my calls, and you always do. And so just for my family, you've taken care of our animals, you've taken care of their dad, and, you've always been a really good friend of Jenny. So thanks for everything you do, and thanks for getting in the car with me today and talking about everything that is important as the Burg. You're the first person I ever knew. I called it the Burg.
Forever. I return the thank you to you, and it's been a pleasure.